Hey guys, it's your boy M.K.S. back with another video. Obviously part 2 of some of my plans for September, some of my plans for September, especially supporting Indigenous American communities, Indigenous communities of the Americas. So I'm not doing it right, am I? Please do all you can to support Indigenous communities from the Americas, and I hope to encourage as many people as possible to do that. And also, like, if you I love to encourage people to do as much as they can to help other people on a daily basis. Like, if you can do your good deed for the day and all that kind of thing, or even a few good deeds for the day, like, it's helping homeless people or whatever in your local community. I don't really believe in giving money to homeless people like on the street, just like giving them money, because I think they're most likely to spend it on things that aren't going to benefit in the long term. But I think if we can donate to build more homes, training and accommodation, things like that and shelter and all that for homeless people, I think it'd be really good. But yeah, so hopefully I can encourage people to help make the world a better place and become part of the positive things that they like as Gandhi apparently said, that'd be the change they want to see. Anyway, so yeah, I think that covers my intro. Yeah, so if basically to do as much good as you can each day. But again, I don't really believe in giving homeless people money or just giving people money. I think it's like giving people training and also buying shelters, accommodation, all that sort of stuff. I'm going to go to the gym soon, so I'm going to try and do this video quite quick before I sort the dishwasher out and go to the gym and all that sort of stuff, or empty and fill the dishwasher, whatever. Some boring details. But anyway, normally I do the cleaning, but because I'm going to the gym, I want to save energy. So here goes. So yeah, so carrying on with my list. Number 11, I'd love to support Indigenous inventors, acknowledging the inventions that may be made by Indigenous people, which there are a few good YouTube videos which show that Indigenous people from the Americas, or certainly from America itself, have created inventions. And I'm sure in history there have been many inventions by Indigenous people from the Americas, but they're not always acknowledged, and it'd be great to see those as inspirations for other Indigenous people from the Americas to create their own inventions. And I also hope to encourage, again, as many people as possible to support Indigenous Americans. Number 12, on that note, I dream to encourage people to mentor on the reservations. It'd be great if businesses, maybe even millionaires and billionaires, could go and mentor in Indigenous reservations, and also across the Americas, like Indigenous people from the Amazon or across Brazil or Argentina, and again all of the Americas. Again, all these videos that I'm making now, or when I talk about Indigenous people from the Americas, I mean all of the Americas. I don't know how many countries are in the Americas, and I'd like to find out facts about the Americas and how many countries there are and how many people there are from the Indigenous community. I think in America itself, there's only about 2 or 3% of the people are Indigenous Americans, and I think across the Americas it'll probably be a similar story, I would imagine. So I'd love to find out, and whatever rights people have in America, Indigenous Americans, I hope they'll have in the rest of the Americas. So it could be universal rights, for equal rights. So Brazil would have to, hopefully by legislature, the international community could put pressure on the Brazilian, Argentinian, Peruvian and other such governments to support their Indigenous communities with the same rights that they would have in America and elsewhere. And again, it could be similar to our Indigenous people from Australasia as well. And whatever I'd like to do for Indigenous people from Australasia, I'd like to do for Indigenous people in the Americas, and vice versa, or what I call the 4 generally, except for with Indigenous Australasians, I'd add technology as an extra, and also people from Africa. Hope that makes sense. Number 13, hopefully we can address some of the issues and problems faced, like healthcare and things like that, within the Indigenous Americans community, and also hopefully they can benefit from their own creepypastas, urban legends, scary stories and things like that, cryptids and that sort of thing. Number 14, yeah, as I said before, I'd love to listen to Indigenous peoples and their aspirations, and look at how to help them solve problems, and look at what sort of goals they have. And I'd love to see Indigenous environmental ministers, because I think they, as far as I understand, Indigenous people always look after the environment. I could be wrong, but I think Indigenous people always seem to look after the environment more than other groups. So it might even be that they don't actually want more money or anything like that, but they just want more rights to their own land and to protecting their ways of life and things like that. Number 15, I'd love to talk about my goals, generally, but especially for Indigenous people, to be exempt from taxes, to have the lowest possible taxes, to get more credit for their business and more funding and things like that, again, to help them with their aspirations, goals, dreams, aims, and objectives, ambitions, aspirations, I say, and even dreams and things like that. Number 16, I hope to look at listening to other people about what are the best ways to support Indigenous people from the Americas, and again what we for instance, what we can learn, for instance, if Aborigines have their own centres, Native people from the Americas, Indigenous people from the Americas, whichever term you prefer to use, could also have their own centres where people could go and learn about their culture and try their cuisine and support their businesses, and it could hopefully help them with their enterprises. Again, I'd love to see Indigenous people pay the lowest amount of taxes, preferably zero, whether that's federal or income or any other taxes, to have the lowest possible taxes and also the most possible funding for their businesses and things like that. Or being able to claim the taxes back and that sort of thing. Number 17, again, I'd love to hear from other people's ideas and use imagination and talk about the skills and talents that Indigenous people have, and Indigenous people got talent and things like that. Indigenous people from the Americas got talent again, not just from America itself, but from Brazil, Argentina, Peru, Uruguay, Paraguay, or in all the other countries and groups and tribal groups, and hopefully get them to work together as well. Number 18, again, I hope the world can learn about a lot of positive things about Indigenous communities, like how they used to look after nature, and things like that, about how their cuisine has affected the rest of the world, apparently, and that sort of thing, which I've found out on YouTube, and finding out more information on YouTube and things like that, and supporting Indigenous or Native YouTubers from the Americas, and again, helping more people from countries, helping people from Indigenous Brazilians, Indigenous Argentinians, and people like that to create their own YouTube channels and things like that. And again, supporting each other. I'd love to like their videos and support them if and when they do that sort of stuff, which I already do with Native American YouTubers. I don't know if there are many from, I'll say, from Southern America, like Brazil and Argentina, Peru, Paraguay, and Uruguay, and places like that. Number 19, again, I love to support Indigenous people in areas like science, engineering, entrepreneurship, English or languages or communication, how they can trade with the rest of the world, sharing their story, learning about maths and other educational stuff. And number 20, I especially wish to support young people from Indigenous American communities and support their future, and look at what they can learn from older people. And I think I forgot to mention point 12, to repeat something I said in part 1 of this list, which is about sharing motivational videos for Indigenous people from the Americas every Monday. So hopefully as many people as possible will join that group. I think I called it something like the one-stop place for Native American motivation or something like that. So hopefully people look for that group on Facebook, Indigenous people, and learn a lot from the videos I hope to share from YouTube, like motivational channels like Evan Carmichael's channel and things like that. So again, I hope to do different things on different days. So that's like motivational Mondays, and business on Mondays, and how banks can support Indigenous American communities, and also businesses and mentors and things like that. And Tuesday about business and how Indigenous people from the Americas could learn about banking and politics and things like that, and how to be empowered. And on Wednesday, like writing or poetry and things like that, expressing themselves and telling their story and celebrating their culture and their dances and that sort of thing. And hearing their story. And on Thursdays, about politics, Indigenous people from the Americas in politics, and that sort of thing. So anyway, hope you'll enjoy my videos, and I'm out. Peace and love.